Ephesians 4:26 through 27, be angry, do not sin, do not let the sun go down on your anger, and give no opportunity to the devil. Anger, when righteous, must be tempered by love, lest it become a foothold for Satan's schemes. This is an interesting one and very applicable, I think, specifically men. Prone to maybe anger in a violent or vitriolic way that can be harmful, but women too. This isn't an isolated sin. And anger is such a tricky one. When I was considering this passage and then thinking about this, pondering on it, being angry, do not sin. That sounds pretty difficult. That sounds like, man, what does it look like? I think that's one of the most common questions that I've heard over my years, or in Bible studies, in church context, especially with new believers. Well, anger, like you just want to get rid of anger. Now here's a section that says, be angry and do not sin. I think about the nature of anger in that when you get angry, and I think we can all agree with this, when you get angry, there's a moment of self-justification. At least there is for me when I get angry. I mean, a really simple example is getting cut off in traffic. There is an injustice that just occurred in front of you. You are angry at that injustice, and now you wish to do something about it. You feel something about it. You are angry that something has tipped the scales of justice, and now you are the victim, and this perpetrator has just violated you by cutting you off in traffic. But I mean, that's kind of a pithy example, but more practical example is like when you get angry with your children, you feel the sense of justification. Oh, why are you doing this again? Why are you throwing that cup? Why are you hitting your sister? I'm speaking from very practical experience with 4 kids. Why are you doing this again? And you can feel this frustration and anger, and you know they're doing wrong, and your job and duty as a parent is to correct them, and maybe there's a feeling in a moment that justification is, I'm angry, this is right. This is a right anger. And then in different ways, even with your spouse, your employer, your coworkers, maybe a coworker's speaking ill things of you behind your back that maybe you are or not aware of in totality what that is, and you have that anger kind of building up inside you. You go home maybe thinking about it. You're just kind of like, that just gets to me. This is, as you can see, this is what really stopped me, is like, be angry and do not sin. So what's the difference there? If there is an aspect of righteousness to anger, and I believe there is, the scriptures oftentimes speak of God being angry and rightly at sin and at wicked acts, and God is a God of justice. He will avenge. The scriptures are so clear about that, and he does it perfectly and righteous. And we are to resemble him, image him, be imitators of him, again, walking in a manner worthy of Christ. There is an anger, even in Christ's ministry on earth, flipping tables and the money changers exchanging, making the household of God a marketplace, and Jesus comes in and says, no way, I'm not having that. There's an anger there. So don't hold off on anger, but also, how are we to approach it? How are we to actually feel? How do we know if I'm angry and I'm not sinning? I think the answer is, when I say it, it's going to be pretty straightforward. It's when your anger is not driving the ship. When you are angry and it's maybe justified, maybe an injustice has occurred against you, if you're going to bed at night thinking about it, if you are, say, angry with a spouse, and like with your spouse in a moment, and man, you're just fuming on it, it's irritating you, you wake up thinking about it still the next day, you go to work, And now let's say, that's spilling over. You're irrational, you didn't sleep well because of it. Now now the coworkers are now going to feel the wrath of your anger at home, or vice versa. Your coworkers have made you angry, and now you're going to be taking that, and that's going to be driving your whole relationship at home. When you get home, your wife is going to feel that anger at that coworker. Your children are going to feel your shortness because of how that has really impacted you, and they're gonna feel just how angry you are. I think that's where we get into we enter into, as a practical way of viewing this, that's sin. It has driven you. It has now taken the reins out of your thoughts of. It has gone out of the new man. You are now operating within this old man, the flesh, that still tempts us, that is still tempted to sin, the part of you that is dead and being put to death. So, what do we do about that? We don't let it drive us. Absolutely, don't let it drive you. And do an audit on yourself. I had to do that when I was reading this passage. Do an audit on yourself and say, where is my emotion driving me? It doesn't even have to be anger. It can be something else, but anger is specifically mentioned here, so I wanted to talk about that just for a little bit. Where are you being driven by an emotion? Is there a specific area of fault or temptation or an area of weakness that takes hold and drives? And is that pretty regular? If you don't know, maybe ask some of the people that are closest to you. And oftentimes, they see things that you're blind to. I know that about myself. And then the church and his body and the believers have actually equipped us to address such things. Do you struggle with anger regularly? Guess what? We have a body of believers that also have struggles, that also fight sin, and that also need help. The church is equipped with people with different giftings, as we've just read and discussed and Forrest preached on. The church is equipped with different gifts for the building up of each other. Rely on one another. Seek prayer. Confess. There's freedom in confession. You'll feel the weight lifted, the Lord and by His Spirit through His church as the normal means of grace to restore and to build and to shed those sins. And then just very frankly, read how Paul talks to saints, to this church in Ephesus, what to do. He says, be done. This is not you. This is not Christ. Recognize that, seek Him, and look for the disparagements between who you are and who Christ is.